Hi guys, let's start the 39th UPSC 2020 Prelims test series from Vision IAS. So now let's start the first question, that is question number 1. Consider the following countries. Number 1, Kazakhstan. Number 2, Russia. Number 3, China. Number 4, India. Number 5, Belarus. Which of the countries given above are members of Eurasian Economic Union? So the correct answer is A. That is 1, 2 and 5 only. 1, 2 and 5 only. So Kazakhstan, Russia and Belarus. Russia is looking forward to India concluding a new free trade agreement with the Eurasian Economic Union, that is EAEU. About Eurasian Economic Union. The Eurasian Economic Union is an international organization for regional economic integration that came into existence on 1st January 2015. The EAEU provides for free movement of goods, services, capital, and labor within its borders. It pursues, coordinates, and harmonizes the policies in the sectors determined by the treaty and international agreements within the Union. The member states of the Eurasian Economic Union are number 1, Armenia, number 2, Belarus, number 3, Kazakhstan, number 4, Kyrgyzstan, and number 5, Russia. Hence, option A is the correct answer. Now let's come to question number 2. In the context of modern Indian history, consider the following statement with reference to the Chittagong Armory raid. Number 1. The raid was carried out in the name of Indian Republican Army, Chittagong. Number 2. It was planned and organized by Rash Bihari Bose. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is A. The correct answer is A, that is 1 only. The raid was carried out in the name of Indian Republican Army, Chittagong. Surya Sen had participated in the non-cooperation movement and had become a teacher in the national school in Chittagong. He was imprisoned from 1926 to 1928 for revolutionary activity and afterwards continued working in the Congress. He was the secretary of the Chittagong District Congress Committee. He used to say humanism is a special virtue of a revolutionary. He was a lover of poetry and an admirer of Tagore and Qazi Nazrul Islam. Surya Sen decided to organize an armed rebellion along with his associates Anand Singh, Ganesh Ghosh, and Lokanath Bal, to show that it was possible to challenge the armed might of the mighty British Empire. Hence, statement 2 is not correct. They had planned to occupy 2 main armories in Chittagong to seize and supply arms to the revolutionaries, to destroy telephone and telegraph lines, and to dislocate the railway link of Chittagong with the rest of Bengal. The raid was conducted in April 1930 and involved 65 activists under the banner of Indian Republican Army, Chittagong branch. Hence, statement 1 is correct. The raid was quite successful. Sen hoisted the national flag, took salute, and proclaimed a provisional revolutionary government. Later, they dispersed into neighboring villages and raided government targets. Surya Sen was arrested in February 1933 and hanged in January 1934. But the Chittagong raid fired the imagination of the revolutionary-minded youth, and recruits poured into the revolutionary groups in a steady stream. Now let's come to question number 3. Consider the following statements with reference to Project Monitoring Group. Number 1, it is an institutional mechanism of department for promotion of industry and internal trade. Number 2, its main aim is to expedite resolution of issues and removal of regulatory bottlenecks in projects with investments upward of rupees 500 crores in India. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is C. That is, both 1 and 2 are correct. So the Project Monitoring Group, that is PMG, is an institutional mechanism for the expedited resolution of issues and regulatory bottlenecks in projects with investment upward rupees 500 crores in India. Hence statement 2 is correct. Currently, PMG is situated at Invest India, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, DPIIT, Ministry of Commerce. Hence, statement 1 is correct. It was set up as a special cell in the Cabinet Secretariat, Government of India in 2013 and was subsequently brought under the administrative control of the Prime Minister's Office, that is PMO, in 2015. The allocation was enabled in order to create a one-stop facilitation destination for investors at all stages of the investment process, including issue resolution. The PMG seeks to enlist the unresolved project issues in respect of all mid and large-sized public, private and public-private partnership, that is PPP, projects. DPIIT is mandated as the nodal body for the review of public and private projects facing challenges and facilitates their resolution through PMG. The issues taken up by PMG are both at union and state level. Now let's come to Invest India. Invest India is the official investment promotion and facilitation agency of India and acts as the first point of reference for investors in India. It is set up as a non-profit venture under the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, Ministry of Commerce and Industries. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 4. Which of the following statements is not correct with reference to Bhakti Saint Ramanuja? Number A. He propounded the doctrine of Vishisht Advaita or qualified oneness. Number B. He was deeply influenced by the Nayanars. Number C. He proposed intense devotion as a means to achieve salvation. Number D. He suggested Choda Ganga Deva to build a temple for the deity of Puri Jagannath. He suggested Chora Ganga Deva to build a temple for the deity of Puri Jagannath. So the correct answer is B. He was deeply influenced by the Nayanars. Ramanuja. So, okay, we have to choose the incorrect answer, and the incorrect answer is B, that he was deeply influenced by the Nayanars. So, Ramanuja, he was born in Tamil Nadu in the 11th century and was deeply influenced by the Alvars. And so, number B is wrong. Ramanuja tried to assimilate bhakti to the tradition of the Vedas. He propounded the doctrine of Vishishtadvaita or qualified oneness, in that the soul, even when united with Supreme God, remained distinct. According to him, the best means of attaining salvation was through intense devotion to Vishnu. Vishnu, in his grace, helps the devotees to attain the bliss of union with him. He argued that in order to attain salvation, the grace of God was more important than knowledge about him. Ramanuja emphasized that the path of prapatti, or total reliance on or surrender to God, was open to all, including the Shudras and the Dalits. Thus, Ramanuja tried to build a bridge between the popular movement based on bhakti and the upper caste movement based on the Vedas. Ramanuja established the Imar Math, or the Amber Math, in Puri and suggested King Choda Gangadeva to build a big temple for the deity of Puri Jagannath, who had been in worship there for several years. Ramanuja's influence on the temple is seen in the practice of giving rice as prasada to devotees. Now let's come to the next question, question number 5. The second schedule of the Constitution contains the administrative provisions pertaining to number 1. Comptroller and Auditor General. Number 2. Judges of High Court. Number 3. Chief Election Commissioner. Number 4. Members of Parliament. Number 5. Members of Union Public Service Commission. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So the correct answer is A. That is 1 and 2 only. Schedules are lists in the Constitution of India that categorize and tabulate bureaucratic activities and policy of the government. Second schedule contains the provisions relating to the emoluments, allowances, privileges, etc. of the following. Number 1, the President of India. Number 2, the governors of states. Number 3, the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker of the Lok Sabha. Number 4, the Chairman and the Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Number 5, the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker of the Legislative Assembly in the states. Number 6, the Chairman and the Deputy Chairman of the Legislative Council in the states. Number 7, the judges of the Supreme Court. Number 8, the judges of the High Courts. Number 9, the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Hence, option A is the correct answer. The provisions in the second schedule can be amended by a simple majority of the two houses of Parliament outside the scope of Article 368. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 6. India has signed non-legally binding memorandums of understanding with Convention on Conservation of Migratory Species, that is CMS, on the conservation and management of which of the following species? The first one is Siberian cranes. Number 2, dugongs. Number 3, marine turtles. Number 4, raptors. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So the correct answer is D. That is 1, 2, 3 and 4. So all are correct. The 13th Conference of Parties, COP of the Convention on the Conservation of Migratory Species of Wild Animals, that is CMS, and Environmental Treaty under the aegis of United Nations Environment Programme, was hosted by India during 15th to 22nd February 2020 at Gandhinagar. As a host, India has been designated the president of the next 3 years. 10 new species were added to CMS appendices at COP13. 7 species were added to Appendix 1. The Asian elephant, jaguar, Great Indian bustard, Bengal florican, little bustard, Antipodian albatross, and the oceanic white-tip shark. The Government of India is signatory to the Convention on Conservation of Migratory Wild Animals (CMS) since 1983. India has signed non-legally binding MOU with CMS on the conservation and management of Siberian cranes 1998, marine turtles 2007, dugongs 2008, and raptors 2016. Like dugong, under the conservation, so these animals are being signed under the Conservation and Recovery Action Plan. The theme of CMS COP13 in India is Migratory Species Connect the Planet and We Welcome Them Home. The CMS COP13 logo is inspired by kolam, a traditional art form from southern India. In the logo of CMS COP13, kolam art form is used to depict key migratory species in India like a moor falcon, humpback whale, and marine turtles. The mascot for CMS COP13 is Gibi, the Great Indian bustard, which is a critically endangered species which has been accorded the highest protection status under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Now let's come to CMS. CMS has 2 appendices. These appendices list migratory species to which the convention applies. Number 1, we have Appendix 1. It comprises migratory species that have been assessed as being in danger of extinction throughout, all, or a significant portion of their range. Appendix 2. It covers migratory species that have an unfavorable conservation status and that require international agreements for their conservation and management, as well as those that have a conservation status which would significantly benefit from the international cooperation that would be achieved by an international agreement. Hence, option D is the correct answer. Now let's come to question number 7. WASP 76B, sometimes seen in news, is related to number A, newly found insect in the western Ghats of Maharashtra. Number B, indigenously developed PPE kits for the protection of health worker. Number C, an exoplanet having iron rain. Number D, biggest black hole discovered so far. So the correct answer is C. That is an exoplanet having iron rain. Astronomers of Spain in the Institute of Astrophysics of the Canary Islands IAC has discovered an exoplanet WASP 76b where it rains iron. Hence option C is the correct answer. The conditions of the exoplanet was discovered by Ishel spectrograph for rocky exoplanets and stable spectroscopic observations ESPRESSO, that is espresso. The high resolution instrument is installed on the European Southern Observatory's Very Large Telescope VLT in Chile. Exoplanet WASP-76b. Exoplanet WASP-76b is located 360 million light-years away toward the constellation Pisces. It has days when its temperature exceeds 2400 degrees Celsius. The temperature is hot enough to evaporate metals. At nights, the strong winds cool down the iron vapor so that it condenses into drops of iron. The planet always keeps the same face towards its star as it rotates around it. Now let's come to question number 8. A barrage is a structure that is built across a river to provide water for farming, to produce electricity, or to allow boats to travel more easily. In this context, consider the following pairs. We have in the one side barrage in the news and the other side built across which rivers. The first one is Barak Barrage, Ganga. Number 2, Prakasham Barrage, Yamuna. Number 3, Dhaleshwaram Barrage, Godavari. Which of the pairs given above are correctly matched? So the correct answer is C. That is 1 and 3 only. That is Faraka Barrage, Ganga. Number 3, Dhaleshwaram Barrage, Godavari. Pair 1 is correctly matched. The Faraka Barrage is built across the river Ganges in the state of West Bengal. Faraka Barrage is 2.2 km long and carries a rail-cum-road bridge across the river to establish direct road and rail communication links to the northeastern states. Canals from the Baraka Barrage. Canals from the Baraka Barrage provides a route for the Inland National Waterways 1 from Allahabad to Haldia using the Ganges, Bhagirathi and Hooghly river system. Pair 2 is not correctly matched. The Prakasham Barrage is located in the Vijayawada in the Krishna district of Andhra Pradesh. Prakasham Barrage is built across the river Krishna, connecting Guntur and Krishna districts via a 1.2 km long river road bridge. Prakasham Barrage also serves the 3 major canals run through the entire city and become a tourist attraction of Vijayawada. Next is Pair 3, which is correctly matched. The Dhaleshwaram Barrage is built across the river Godavari. near Rajamundry in the Godavari district of Andhra Pradesh. Dholeshwaram Barrage is the last stretch of Godavari River before it empties into the Bay of Bengal. The 3.4 kilometer long barrage is located 8 kilometers from Rajamundry city, where the Godavari divided into two streams. Other barrages. The first one is Jobra Barrage. It is built across the river Mahanadi near Cuttack in the Indian state of Orissa. Jobra Barrage, also known as Mahanadi Barrage, carries a 2.0 kilometer long road bridge connecting Cuttack and Jagatpur. The barrage is situated near to the longest river bridge of Orissa and one of the longest in India, the Mahanadi Road Bridge. Next is the Asan Barrage is located in the famous Doon Valley of Dehradun district near the border of Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. Asan Barrage, built across at the confluence of River Asan and Eastern Yamuna Canal near Dagpathar. Next is the Kota Barrage. It is built across the river Jumble at Kota city in Rajasthan. Next is the Dagpathar Barrage. It is built across the river Yamuna near to Dagpathar in Uttarakhand state. The last one is Talwara Barrage. It is built across the Bias River, with big 52 gates. So this Talwara Barrage, it has big 52 gates. It is known for world famous Pong Dam, Goddess Chintapurni Temple, and Maharana Pratap Sagar Lake. And the next question is question number 9. Question number 9. Which of the following is or are the advantages of the recently introduced Wi-Fi 6 routers or devices? Statement 1. They provide higher throughput per user in dense and congested environments. Number 2, they allow for more number of devices to be connected to the Wi-Fi. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So the correct answer is C. That is both 1 and 2 are correct. The latest generation of Wi-Fi, known as Wi-Fi 6, brings with it some significant performance improvements that aim to address limitations in older generations. Wi-Fi 6 is also known as high-efficiency wireless. Technically, Wi-Fi 6 has a single user data rate that is 37% faster than 802.11 AC. But what's more significant is that the updated specification offers 4 times the throughput per user in crowded environments, as well as better power efficiency, which should translate to a boost in device battery life. To achieve those improvements, Wi-Fi 6 implements a variety of changes, including several multi-user technologies which have been borrowed from the cellular industry, namely MU, MI, MO, and OFDMA. Techniques that greatly improve capacity and performance by enabling more simultaneous connections and a more thorough use of spectrum. It will ultimately aid in laying a foundation for the number of nodes expected on upcoming smart infrastructure, example Internet of Things devices. Hence, both the statements are correct. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 10. Which of the following are the sources of data on unemployment in India? Number 1, reports of Census of India. Number 2, Employment Unemployment Survey of Labor Bureau. Number 3, Annual Reports of Periodic Labor Force Survey. Number 4, Employment Exchanges Data. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So the correct answer is D. That is 1, 2, 3 and 4. So all the statements are correct. So all the statements 1, 2, 3 and 4 are correct. Unemployment data in India is primarily collected by agencies such as the National Statistical Office, that is NSO, of the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, MOSPI. The government has last year decided to merge the National Sample Survey Office, that is NSSO, with the Central Statistics Office, that is CSO, leading to the formation of an overarching body, that is National Statistical Office, that is NSO. Employment Unemployment Survey EUS. Employment Unemployment Survey by erstwhile NSSO is a comprehensive household survey providing labor force statistics in India. It was first conducted in 1955 and since 1972 to 73 is conducted every 5 years. It is the prime source of statistical indicators and estimates of various parameters of the labor force and activity participation of the population. The main problem with this survey is its very low frequency and the time lag between the collection and availability of results. Now, Labor Bureau and attached office of the Ministry of Labor and Employment releases the Employment and Unemployment Survey. The survey has been conducted in all the states or union territories by covering all the districts. Now let's come to Periodic Labor Force Survey, PLFS. Considering the importance of the availability of labor force data at more frequent time intervals, National Statistical Office, that is NSO, launched Periodic Labor Force Survey, that is PLFS, on April 2017. The objective of PLFS is primarily twofold: one, to estimate the key employment and unemployment indicators like worker population ratio, labor force participation rate, unemployment rate in the short time interval of 3 months for the urban areas only in the current weekly status, that is CWS, and to estimate employment and unemployment indicators in both usual status and CWS, that is current weekly status, in both rural and urban areas annually. Now let's come to employment exchange. Employment exchange refers to an office of the central or state government which collects and furnishes information on the prospective employers, available vacancies and job seekers, thereby facilitating job seekers to find a suitable job and for the industry to find a suitable manpower. Directorate General of Employment and Training, DGET, Ministry of Labor, operates a National Employment Service, that is NES, which is entrusted with the matters of employment exchanges. As part of their administrative functioning, employment exchanges collect data on various aspects of employment and unemployment. Data on job seekers registered with the employment exchanges have been analyzed to evaluate the incidence of unemployment in the country. Now let's come to population census. The census provides information on size, distribution, and socio-economic, demographic, and other characteristics of the country's population. Data on main, marginal, and non-workers is collected in census. According to Census 2011, numbers of the 116 million Indians who were either seeking or available for work, 32 million were illiterate and 84 million literate. Among literates, unemployment rates were higher among the better qualified. The unemployed included those who were not currently working but were seeking or available for work, as well as those in marginal employment, meaning that they worked for fewer than 6 months in the year preceding the census, who were seeking or available for work. Overall, India's unemployment rate grew from 6.8% in 2001 to 9.6% in 2011, based on official census data. The main problem with this survey is its very low frequency, since census data comes every 10 years. So, option D is the correct answer. That is 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all correct. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 11. Consider the following statements with reference to Nidhi companies. Number 1. They take up deposits from and lending to its member only. Number 2. They are regulated by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Number 3. They are registered under the Company Act 2013. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is D. That is 1, 2, and 3. All of them are correct. In order to make regulatory regime for Nidhi companies more effective and also to accomplish the objectives of transparency and investor friendliness in corporate environment of the country, the central government has recently amended the provisions related to Nidhi under the Companies Act and rules, effective from 15th August 2019. The amended provisions of the Companies Act, Section 406, and Nidhi rules as amended on 15th August 2019 require that the Nidhi companies have to apply to the central government for updation of their status or declaration as Nidhi company in form NDH 4. Nidhi companies. Under Nidhi Rules 2014, Nidhi is a company which has been incorporated as a Nidhi with the object of cultivating the habit of thrift and saving amongst its members, receiving deposits from and lending to its members only for their mutual benefit. Hence, statement 1 is correct. Nidhi company is a class of non-banking financial company. NBFC and Reserve Bank of India (RBI) has powers to issue directives for both related to their deposit acceptance activities. Their core business is borrowing and lending money between their members. They are regulated by Ministry of Corporate Affairs, hence statement 2 is correct. They have to comply with two set of norms, one of Public Limited Company as per Companies Act 2013 and another is for Nidhi Rules 2014. They are registered under Companies Act 2013. Hence statement 3 is correct. So all the statements are correct. Now let's come to question number 12. Consider the following statements with respect to right to life and personal liberty as guaranteed under Article 21 of the Constitution of India. Number 1, it is available to Indian citizens only. Number 2, it includes the right to travel abroad. Number 3, it cannot be suspended during the national emergency. Which of the statements given above are correct? So the correct answer is B. That is 2 and 3 only. So it includes the right to travel abroad and it cannot be suspended during the national emergency. Article 21 declares that no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to procedure established by law. This right is available to both citizens and non-citizens. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. In the Gopalan case, 1950, the Supreme Court held that the protection under Article 21 is available only against arbitrary executive action and not from arbitrary legislative action. But in Menaka case 1978, the Supreme Court overruled its judgment in the Gopalan case and ruled that the right to life and personal liberty of a person can be deprived by a law provided the procedure prescribed by that law is reasonable, fair and just. The court held that the right to life is embodied in Article 21 is not merely confined to animal existence or survival, but it includes within its ambit the right to life with human dignity and all those aspects of life which go to take a man's life, which go to make a man's life meaningful, complete, and worth living. Under the Constitution, the freedom of movement has two dimensions, that is, internal, right to move inside the country, and external, right to move out of the country and right to come back to the country. Article 19 protects only the first dimension. The second dimension is dealt by Article 21, that is the right to life and personal liberty. Hence, statement 2 is correct. Article 359 authorizes the President to suspend the right to move any court for the enforcement of fundamental rights during a national emergency. The 44th Amendment Act of 1978 restricted the scope of Article 359. Under the Act, during the national emergency, the President cannot suspend the right to move the court for the enforcement of fundamental rights guaranteed by Articles 20 to 21. So the right to life remains enforceable even during emergency. Hence, statement 3 is correct. So, statement 2 and 3 are correct. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Now let's come to question number 13. Located in the heart of the Vindhya range, this wildlife sanctuary is found to be the most suitable site for the relocation of Asiatic lions. The sanctuary is made up of thick, deciduous forest interspersed with meadows and comprises species of trees such as kardhai, gurjan, khair, and kahua. Which of the following wildlife sanctuaries is described in the above passage? Number A, Bori Wildlife Sanctuary. Number B, Kuno Palpur Wildlife Sanctuary. Number C, Nauradehi Wildlife Sanctuary. Number D, National Jumble Wildlife Sanctuary. So the correct answer is B. That is Kuno Palpur Wildlife Sanctuary. Kuno Palpur is situated in the Shopur district of Madhya Pradesh. This protected region has a core area of 345 square kilometer and an outer buffer area of 890 square kilometer. Together, they constitute the Wildlife Division, created in the year 2002 to provide an alternative home to the endangered Asiatic lion. The undulating terrain of the Vindhya Range in which the reserve is situated is actually a river valley created by the river Kuno, which divides the sanctuary from north to south. Three sites, namely Dara Wildlife Sanctuary, Jawahar Sagar Sanctuary, and Sita Mata Wildlife Sanctuary in Rajasthan, and Kuno Palpur Sanctuary in Madhya Pradesh, were identified for lion introduction. Out of these four, Kuno Palpur Sanctuary was found to be the most suitable site on account of its area, shape, and vegetation by the Wildlife Institute of India. The sanctuary is made up of thick deciduous forest interspersed with meadows and comprises species of trees such as khardai, gurjan, kher, and kahua. Herbivores such as nilgai, sambar, then we have spotted deer, blackbuck, and chinkara, which moves in herds, are easily spotted here, while the carnivores, including panthers, jackals, foxes, hyenas, and bears, can be a little more elusive. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Bori Wildlife Sanctuary. It was established in 1977 and it is located on the foothills of the Satpura Range in Madhya Pradesh, along with Satpura National Park and Panchmari Sanctuary, makes up the Panchmari Biosphere Reserve. Now next one is Nauradehi Wildlife Sanctuary. Established in the year 1975, it spreads across a total expanse of 1197 square kilometers in the heart of Madhya Pradesh and is shared by four districts, namely Sagar, Damo, Narsinghpur, and Raisen. The sanctuary's flora and fauna are sustained by the two rivers basins, that is Narmada and Ganga. The sanctuary is thriving in wildlife and is home to exotic canine species including the Indian wolf, striped hyena, and Bengal fox. Next is National Jumble Wildlife Sanctuary, located in Vindhyan Ranges, is famous for the rare Gangetic dolphin. The sanctuary was founded in 1979 and is part of a large area co-administered by Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. Apart from the Gangetic dolphin, the other inhabitants of the sanctuary include magar, that's crocodile, and gharial, that is alligator, chinkara, sambar, nilgai, wolf, and wild boar. It is the last bastion for some of the country's most endangered wildlife like the gharial, mugar, turtles, otter, and the freshwater dolphin. The Chambal region also boasts of a wide variety of aquatic and terrestrial bird. Jumble was chosen as one of the main areas for reintroduction of the species back into the wild. The Government of India launched a crocodile breeding and management project in partnership with the UNDP or FAO in 1975. The presence of gharial prompted the government to establish a protected area to secure the future of the species. Thus, the National Jumble Sanctuary, that is NCS, was established, covering nearly 610 kilometers across the three states. Question number 14. Consider the following statements with reference to trade and commerce during Mughal rule in India. Number 1. An increase in imported luxury items by nobles led to huge outgo of silver bullion from India. Number 2. Waterways and coastal trade along the seashore played a key role in the transportation of goods. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is B. That is 2 only. Trade and commerce expanded in India during the Mughal rule in the 17th century. The Indian trading classes were large in numbers, spread out all over the country, well organized and highly professional. Some specialized in long distance inter-regional trade and some in local retail trade. The former were called Seth, Bora or Modi, while the latter was called Bioparis or Banik. The Banjaras used to move over long distances, sometimes with thousands of oxen carrying food grains, pulses, ghee, salt, etc. The more expensive goods, such as textiles, silks, etc., were laden on camels and mules or in carts. But it was cheaper to move bulk goods through the rivers on boats. Boat traffic on waterways and coastal trade along the sea shore was more highly developed than now. The trade in foodstuffs and a wide range of textile products were the most important components of inter-regional trade. Hence statement 2 is correct. Merchants in India were not without influence in political quarters where their own interests were concerned. Thus, each community of merchants had its leader who could intercede with the local officials on their behalf. We do have instances of strikes, that is hartal, by merchants in Ahmedabad and elsewhere to stress their points of view. We have also noted the involvement of members of the Mughal royal family and prominent nobles such as Mir Jumla in trade. Thus, the Mughal ruling class was not unconcerned with business and protection of the commercial interest of the country and the trading classes, though it was not as actively involved in pushing its business interest as some European states such as Britain, France, and Holland were. The political stability achieved by the Mughal Empire helped create vibrant networks of overland trade from China to the Mediterranean Sea. Voyages of discovery and the opening up of the New World resulted in a massive expansion of Asia's, particularly India's trade with Europe. This resulted in a greater geographical diversity of India's overseas trade as well as an expansion in the commodity composition of this trade. And expanding trade brought in huge amounts of silver bullion into Asia to pay for goods procured from India, and a large part of that bullion gravitated towards India. So hence option 1 is wrong. So statement 1 is incorrect. This was good for India as it did not have natural resources of silver. As a result, the period between the 16th and 18th centuries were also marked by remarkable stability in the availability of metal currency, particularly the silver rupia in India. This facilitated an unprecedented expansion of minting of coins and the circulation of money in the economy, as well as the ability of the Mughal state to extract taxes and revenue in cash. So the correct answer is B, that is 2 only. Question number 15. The British Parliament kept an eye on the operations of the East India Company from the very beginning and regulated its activities through acts and charters. In this context, the famous Fifth Report demanded which of the following? Number A. Removal of Warren Hastings as the Governor General of Bengal. Number B. An end to the monopoly of the East India Company's trade. Number C. A complete Europeanization of the company's army. Number D. Promoting railways in the Indian subcontinent. So the correct answer is B. That is an end to the monopoly of the East India Company's trade. At the end of the 18th century, the East India Company consolidated its position in most parts of India, and its activities were closely watched and debated in England. A series of reports were submitted to the British Parliament on the administration and activities of the East India Company. Among these, one such report was the Fifth Report from the Select Committee of the House of Commons on the East India Company, released on 28 July 1812. This report presented the voice of great opposition from other traders in England and demanded revocation of the Royal Charter that granted a monopoly to the East India Company of having trade with India and China. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 16. Framauro, often seen in news, is related to number A. Fossils of largest shark found in the Arctic region. Number B. A technique used by European people for desalinizing seawater. Then C. A landing site on the near side of the moon. Number D. Deep marine cavern found in the South China Sea. So the correct answer is C. That is a landing site on the near side of the moon. Apollo 13 was supposed to make a more challenging landing near the Framauro. Let's come to Framauro. So the Framauro Formation or Framauro Highlands is a formation on the near side of Earth's moon that served as the landing site for the American Apollo 14 mission in 1971. Hence, option C is the correct answer. It is named after the 80-kilometer diameter crater Framauro located within it. The formation as well as Framauro crater take their names from a 15th century Italian monk and map maker of the same name. Apollo 13 was originally scheduled to land in the Framauro Highlands but was unable due to an in-flight technical failure. Framauro is thought to have been formed from ejected or debris from the impact which formed a mare imbrium. So the Framauro is thought to have been formed from ejecta or debris from the impact which formed mare imbrium or imbrium. So conducting experiments at the Framauro Formation would have provided greater insights about the moon and the Earth's early geological history. Now let's come to Apollo 13 mission. Apollo 13 was the seventh crewed mission in the Apollo space program and the third meant to land on the moon. The craft was launched from Kennedy Space Center on April 11, 1970. aboard the Saturn V SA-508 rocket. But the lunar landing was aborted after an oxygen tank in the service module SM failed 2 days into the mission. The crew instead looped around the moon and returned safely to Earth on April 17. While Apollo 13 did not land on the lunar surface, it was able to return photographs that it took when it looped around the moon. Now let's come to question number 17. Which of the following is or are correct with reference to Pulkesin II? Number 1. His rule extended in and around the Deccan region. Number 2. He defeated Harshvardhana when he tried to invade his territory. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So the correct answer is C. That is both 1 and 2 are correct. Pulkesin II, the son of Kirtivarman, was one of the greatest rulers of the Chalukya dynasty. He ruled for almost 34 years. In this long reign, he consolidated the authority in Maharashtra and conquered large parts of the Deccan. His greatest achievement was his victory in the defensive war against Harshvardhana. In 620 AD, Harshvardhana invaded the Chalukya kingdom in the Deccan, which was then ruled by Pulkesin II. But the Chalukyas' resistance proved tough. It proved tough for Harshvardhana and he was defeated. So the Chalukyas' resistance proved tough for Harshvardhana and he was defeated. Hence both the statements are correct. Pulkesin II was defeated and killed by the Pallava king Narasimhavarman in 642 AD. His son Vikramaditya, who was also as great a ruler as his father, succeeded him. He renewed the struggle against his southern enemies. He recovered the former glory of the Chalukyas to a great extent. Now let's come to question number 18. Consider the following pairs. Number 1, sarang. So the left side are defense items and the right side are the types. Number 1, we have sarang, artillery gun. Number 2, spike, long range missile. Number 3, MH-60 Romeo, advanced maritime helicopter. Which of the pairs given above are correctly matched? So the correct answer is D. That is 1, 2 and 3. They are all correctly matched. Army gets upgraded 155 mm artillery gun at Defexpo. About Sarang artillery gun. Sarang is the 130 mm artillery gun upgunned to 155 mm, 45 caliber upgunning based on the Army's tender. Hence, pair 1 is correctly matched. The gun's range has now gone from 27 km to over 36 km with the upgrade. It also has more explosive capability and hence more damage potential. In all, OFB will upgrade 300 to 130 mm guns. 300 130 mm guns to 155 mm and the contract will be completed in 4 years. Indian Army successfully test fires Spike LR missile which is long range. Hence pair 2 is correctly matched. Now let's come to Spike. Spike anti-tank missile is a 4th generation missile which can engage any target with precision at ranges up to 4 km. It is developed and designed by Israel's Rafael Advanced Defense Systems. The missile is man-portable and has its own vehicle launch and helicopter-launched variants. It will bolster Indian Army's firepower capability. India will buy 26 MH-60 Romeo helicopters from Lockheed Martin for the Indian Navy for USD 2.6 billion. Now let's learn about MH-60 Romeo. These helicopters are considered to be the world's most advanced maritime helicopter, hence Pair 3 is correctly matched. The proposed sale will provide India the capability to perform anti-surface and anti-submarine warfare missions. It will also enhance the Navy's ability to perform secondary missions, including search and rescue and communications relay. So all the three pairs are correctly matched. Now let's come to question number 19. Recently, the government has launched the National Transit Pass System to facilitate interstate movement of passengers and goods amid COVID-19. Number B, to enable smooth transition of registration of private vehicles between different states. Number C, to allow for seamless movement of forest produce. Number D, to curb trade of wildlife and animal products within the country. So the correct answer is C. That is to allow for seamless movement of forest produce. Recently, the Environment Minister virtually launched piloting of the National Transit Pass System. The National Pass System enhances seamless movement of forest produce. Hence, option C is the correct answer. It is an online system for issuing transit permits for timber, bamboo and other forest produce. NTPS will bring ease of business and expedite the issuance of transit permits for timber, bamboo and other minor forest produce without physically going to forest offices. Through mobile application, e-pass will be issued for the transit of forest produce. The pilot project will be functional in Madhya Pradesh and Telangana for now. People can apply for passes from their mobile phones as well as receive e-passes in their mobile phones. This will enhance the seamless movement of forest produce. Now let's come to question number 20. Which of the following committees are related to electoral reforms? Number 1, Indrajit Gupta Committee. Number 2, Abhijit Sen Committee. Number 3, Tarkunde Committee. Number 4, Dinesh Goswami Committee. Number 5, Narasimhan Committee. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So the correct answer is C. That is 1, 3 and 4. So the correct answer is C. That is 1, Indrajit Gupta Committee. Then we have 3, Tarkunde Committee. And we have 4, that is Dinesh Goswami Committee. The various committees and commissions which have examined our electoral systems, election machinery as well as election process are: the first one is Indrajit Gupta Committee on State Funding of Elections, 1998. Number 1. Only Election Commission recognized political parties should be given the state support in terms of printing material and facilities, electronic media time, vehicles and fuel, etc. Number 2, complete account of the election expenditure should be filed by the parties to the ECI. Number 3, political parties should compulsorily submit their annual accounts to the Income Tax Department. The next committee is Denise Goswami Committee. Number 1, time limit for by-elections. Number 2, increase in deposits from independents. Number 3, the committee also called for amendment of the anti-defection law to restrict disqualification. And the next committee is Tarkunde Committee, 1975. Number 1, the Election Commission should be a 3-member body. Number 2, the minimum age of voting should be 18 years. Number 3, the TV and radio should be placed under the control of Autonomous Statutory Corporation. Number 4, a voters' council should be formed in as many constituencies as possible, which can help in free and fair election. Also, various reports of Law Commission, National Commission to review the working of the Constitution proposed several electoral reforms. Both Abhijit Sen Committee and Narasimhan Committee are related to reforms in financial sector. Hence, option C is the correct answer. Now let's come to the next question, question number 21. In the context of the cultural history of India, Thevaram refers to number A, collection of Saiva devotional poetry. Number B, literary volumes part of Sangam text. Number C, a form of martial dance. Number D, a percussion instrument used in northeastern India. So the correct answer is A. That is a collection of Shaiva devotional poetry. So the Tamil has a literary tradition that goes back to the period of Sangams, 300 BC to 300 CE. The most well-known surviving works from this period are the Tolkappiyam, a book of grammar attributed to Tolkappiyar. Ittu Kottai, Ittu Togai, 8 anthologies. Then we have Pattu Pattu, 10 idylls. Then we have epics like Silapadikaram and Manimekalai, authored by Ilango, Adigal and Satanar respectively. Tirukural, a Tamil treatise par excellence by Tiruvalluvar, and Tirungadai, another work of epic proportion by Tongu Velir. Their period was succeeded by the age of devotional poetry of both the Saiva and the Vaishnava variety in Tamil literature. These works are referred to as the Thevaram and the Nalayira Divya Prabandham respectively. So these works are referred to as the Thevaram and the Nalayira Divya Prabandham respectively. These, hence option A is the correct answer. So Thevaram refers to a collection of Saiva devotional poetry. Now let's come to question number 22. With reference to sweating in human beings, consider the following statements. Number 1, it helps in regulating the temperature of the body. Number 2, it can be used as a tool for the diagnosis of certain diseases. Number 3, the pH value of sweat ranges from moderately acidic to neutral levels. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is C. That is 1, 2, and 3. All the statements are correct. Statement 1 is correct. Sweat comes out of three types of glands distributed across all over our skin, secreting water and substances that help keep our body at the optimum temperature of 37 degrees Celsius or 98.4 degrees Fahrenheit. It is 99% water containing sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and chloride ions, ammonium ions, urea, lactic acid, glucose, and other minor components. Our brain has temperature sensitive nerve cells, that is, neurons, which control the sweat glands in releasing the fluid depending on the temperature and physical metabolic activity of the body. Sweat is thus our body's thermoregulator. Statement 2 is correct. And analysis of the sweat fluid in a patient and how it compares with that of a normal individual will thus be of diagnostic value just as much as other body fluids do. For example, in the illness called cystic fibrosis, the ratio of the sodium to chloride ions in the sweat is different from that of a normal individual. Likewise, the amount of glucose in the sweat of a diabetic is higher than normal. But the problem is the amount of sweat available from the skin. Recently, e-skin patches have been developed for real-time measurement of some chosen components in the sweat. Statement 3 is correct. In humans, sweat is hypoosmotic relative to plasma, that is less concentrated. Sweat is found at moderately acidic to neutral pH levels. So sweat is found at moderately acidic to neutral pH levels, typically between 4.5 and 7. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 23. Motihari Amlekgunj pipeline recently seen in news in a cross-border pipeline between India and number A, Bangladesh, number B, Nepal, number C, Myanmar, number D, Bhutan. So the correct answer is B, that is Nepal. Prime Ministers of India and Nepal have jointly inaugurated the Motihari Amlekganj petroleum product pipeline, the first of its kind in South Asia. Now let's learn about the pipeline. The 69-kilometer long pipeline from Motihari in Bihar to Amlekganj in Nepal is the first ever cross-border petroleum product pipeline in the South Asia region. Hence, option B is the correct answer. So, what are the significance of this pipeline? As of now, tankers carry petroleum products from India to Nepal as part of an arrangement which is in place since 1973. Every year, the pipeline will carry 2 million metric tons of clean petroleum products at an affordable price to Nepal. It will help to enhance the energy security of the region and substantially cut down on transit cost. Now let's come to question number 24. Recently, a major explosion in Beirut took place because of mass storage of ammonium nitrate. In this context, consider the following statements regarding ammonium nitrate. Statement 1. It is a white crystalline compound which is highly hygroscopic in nature. Number 2, it is used in agriculture in a high nitrogen fertilizer. Number 3, in India, there is no statute to regulate the import and storage of ammonium nitrate. Which of the statements given above are correct? So the correct answer is A. That is 1 and 2. The statements 1 and 2 are correct. So ammonium nitrate is a chemical compound with the chemical formula NH4NO3. It is a white crystalline solid consisting of ions of ammonium and nitrate. It is highly soluble in water and hygroscopic as a solid, although it does not form hydrates. It is predominantly used in agriculture as a high nitrogen fertilizer. In its other major use is as a component of explosive mixtures used in mining, quarrying, and civil construction. Mining companies led by Coal India Limited are the biggest consumers of ammonium nitrate, the chemical compound, in India. Ammonium nitrate is imported in bulk and in large quantities through central government-run Visakhapatnam Port Trust by some 15 explosive manufacturers located in the eastern states including the mineral belts of Orissa and Bihar. The chemical is used to manufacture explosives that are in turn sold to miners who use it for blasting during mining operations. Statement 3 is not correct. Miners source explosives from manufacturers holding permits from Petroleum and Explosives Safety Organization (PESO) to import the chemical. So the miners source explosives from manufacturers holding permits from Petroleum and Explosives Safety Organization, that is PESO, to import the chemical. PESO is a regulatory agency attached to the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade under the Ministry of Commerce and Industries. The administer, okay. So PESO is a regulatory agency attached to the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade under the Ministry of Commerce and Industries. To administer Explosives Act 1884, Petroleum Act 1934, Inflammable Substances Act 1952, Ammonium Nitrate Rules 2012 and Environment Protection Act 1986, among others, for controlling import, export, transport, storage, and usage of explosive materials, flammable materials, pressure vessels, cryogenic vessels, design and installation of all necessary and relevant infrastructure. The central government has tightened the import, storage, transport, and manufacture of explosives using the chemical by notifying the Ammonium Nitrate Rules 2012. Now let's come to question number 25. Consider the following statements. Number 1. The snow leopard is listed as endangered by the International Union of Conservation of Nature, that is IUCN. Number 2. India's first snow leopard conservation center is going to be established in Uttarakhand. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is B, that is 2 only. So India's first snow leopard conservation center is going to be established in Uttarakhand. Snow leopard is large cat native to mountain ranges of Central and South Asia, including the Himalayas and Russia's remote Altai Mountains. The snow leopard inhabits the higher Himalayan and trans-Himalayan landscape in the 5 states of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, and Arunachal Pradesh. This area contributes to about 5% of the global snow leopard range. Snow leopards are categorized as vulnerable by IUCN and in the Scheduled 1 of the Indian Wildlife Protection Act 1972. They are listed in Appendix 1 of the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, that is CITES, and the Convention on Migratory Species, that is CMS. The IUCN in 2017 has downlisted the snow leopard on the red list of threatened species from endangered to vulnerable. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. India's first snow leopard conservation center will be opened in Uttarkasi Forest Division in Uttarakhand. The conservation center will be built by the Uttarakhand Forest Department along with United Nations Development Programme, that is UNDP, as part of its 6-year-long project, Secure Himalayas. The project aims at securing livelihoods, conservation, sustainable use, and restoration of high-range Himalayan ecosystem. Hence, statement 2 is correct. So that's all, guys. See you in my next video. Bye.